Hey, this is an excerpt from I'd Go Anywhere With You by me, Cecil Disharoon. The awkward situation that followed was shuffled into a mental vault as Gina walked over to table 33. Her kiss with Martin Reimer flashed before her eyes as she rounded the corner. It had been an unexpectedly dispassionate kiss, one she'd tried not to regret. After all, her months of miseries before had left her in desperate need of a friend, even one with whom she'd shared some
confusion. Gina, I thought we might get you.
Boomed Martin as he leaned out of his seat to give her a hug around the waist. This is my roommate and college friend, Lewis King. We thought we'd catch up over lunch, and since it's slow this time of day, we just walked over. His friend had curly brown hair flowing over his ears from under his black beret and expressive lashes flickering over crystal blue eyes. He was dressed in a denim shirt with a hunter's green fishing-type vest, and his pretty lips spread out into a placid smile as he gave Gina a friendly wave.
Can't stay away on your off days, she bantered. I may have some silverware for you to roll.
I'd be glad to bustle your section when we go, Martin laughed.
Oh, is that what we're calling it these days? Said
Lewis, arching an eyebrow humorously. The easy laughter between everyone belied the slight tension Gina still felt with her friend. Only the next day after their kiss had he explained he was getting back together with his fiancée. She pushed this aside to get their drink orders. I think I may have a Heineken, said Lewis, looking up from his thoughtful perusal of the menu. He was always excited by the sheer possibilities. He hadn't been spending much on food of late with his big plans. In fact, this was the subject of his lunch conversation with Martin. Oh, could I see some ID? Gina asked. Taken slightly aback, Lewis grinned and reached into his vest, digging out a guitar pick, a folded slip of paper. The pick she recognized readily. Her father often kept them around. He had played guitar a lot during his days as a reverend. Gina had sang lead in the family's gospel group. The slip turned out to be his temporary driver's license with his old photos stapled to it. She eyed this a moment. Really not supposed to take anything but a real ID. Lewis's mouth dropped open as she turned to Martin. Can you vouch for him? She privately enjoyed teasing Lewis. It was nice to feel a little spark of her old self. Martin said, stroking a blonde goatee. I think this is legit. Give me a break, said Lewis. I just had my birthday. You know that. The real one just hasn't come in the mail. Oh, so this isn't a real one, is what you're saying, grinned Martin, flicking back his long Nordic hair. Gina tittered. Well, if you can't serve me, you can't serve me, Lewis said, with faintly mocking resignation as he eased back in his chair. I'll let you slide, Gina offered, this time. Hey everybody, I'm the Cecil Disharoon that is bringing you this book here, Anywhere With You. But I couldn't have written it without Anzola Disharoon. You know, after all, it kind of came from our lives in so many ways. So check it out. You know how even when you don't feel well, it's like that you might have the energy to sit down with a book, and it can definitely take you away from things. You know. That said, though, let's say that you wanted to learn a little something, but the feeling was really important to you. So this is a book about going from a lower state of feeling poorly, to being supercharged by falling in love. So lots of things happen here, but think about Anywhere With You. It's like it's like this. It's kind of simple, and it's about a simpler point in time before, I would say, before politics became such a prominent conversation, and everything had changed so much, before cell phones.
Before the 24-hour news cycle, because of the internet and,
Right.
and all that it brings, social media in the forms that it is.
This is a book from the days of cable TV, and none of the individuals in this book, I think, own a computer. That seems right, yeah. So if that helps place it for you, welcome to the mid-90s. That's what Anywhere With You is about. And it's also a book about belonging.
Johan might have owned it.
Ah, yeah. But you see, that's true. That's true. He might have. We just didn't know him yet. Really.
Yeah, we didn't know him.
Yeah, but
well, up until what?
but he's not. I mean, he's in the book, but he's just a fictional character. I guess there's no point in saying it much. It's just with a little bit of changed names. It's like it's
Oh, that's right. We didn't.
the
want to
people.
take them
He's
up
just
there.
somebody that he's somebody in the conversation, and then he's somebody that the characters meet later on in the book. But we've kind of blown the whole bit by like explaining who he is, or have we? Is that part of the point? Is that this is actually people, in large part from our
Well, there
personal
are
lives?
some fictional aspects to the book.
But it's focused on trying to recreate the actual past.
Yes, there.
Yeah, there are some fictional elements.
The emotional elements, they're all true.
The
They're
emotional
all true.
elements are all there, and they're all true. And they lead with a lot of love, because we feel a lot of love. And even writing about the happiness that became ours when we fell in love. That's still, there was a lot of love for the people around us as well. Maybe we didn't all understand each other so completely, but that's also what life is about too. What I find really funny is that in a lot of ways, the characters in this book, it's like there's trauma, there's definitely drama, but most of the characters try to live in a harmonious, drama-free way with each other. There's like a sincere intention for people to get along that I think permeates the atmosphere of this book. It's not just about two people falling in love. It's about their culture as it transformed into the one that we know today.
It's about their historical culture, the culture that they were raised in, the culture of Christianity.
And I wouldn't be kidding if I said that it was about ghosts.
It was definitely, and some of the elements that are true there. Well, a lot of the more horrific elements are indeed actions that happen in my life. And the definition of what those are have changed over the years as I've looked at it with newer and newer eyes. But those elements are true, and the way they affected my life until I met him was a very negative way. And then I found a freedom in him to research a way to connect with what happened to me on that mountain and with new eyes in a new way, by just researching what was out there about just other things that existed that was outside my purview and outside of the look of the Christianity, because it didn't quite, what happened to me on the mountain didn't quite fit in with my Christian purview.
Well, I hope that really interests you as a prelude, because the other thing in the video that I'd like to follow this with is going to be how, basically a fictional version of how we met. And that's going to be a lot of fun. It's about 4 minutes of reading, But while you're with me, right, I guess it's like, spoiler alert, the characters end up together. Unlike, your typical idea of a romance novel, I suppose, it's like there's really little pretense that these two people aren't in love. They love fiercely all the way through.
From basically the moment they met each other.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
And that's
unusual.
the
energy
truest
element.
element in that story.
That is the truest element. I think that's the reason that we felt like that this book was worth writing, and why I'm unashamed to share it with people, even though I do consider it to be as simply and directly written as possible. I think in that aspect, it makes it more accessible as a story, and perhaps that's a more important factor than any kind of intellectual showing or anything. There are some intentions inside the book. There are characters that are intelligent. There are a lot of intelligent characters in this book, actually, but they all have to deal with emotional lives as well, So I guess that's another aspect. There's a lot of smart people in the book, but it's all rather humble in a way. It's all people kind of fresh from the country, not particularly.
They're seeking to expand on what they know of life.
Yeah, it's like, how does one go about becoming unlike any generation before? And how do you do it with your own stamp on it? Your own sense of an integrity of something. It's like, what do you stand for? What do what matters to you? What are some of the elements of what makes your life worth living? That is a conversation that I do think that you will be rewarded with in this book. Now, I just lost the place where we found the rings. That was fun though. Oh, well, I like that. Okay, well, Dad King thanked her. She couldn't hide that she had taken him unawares. The check had been the point, though, right? Oh, ha ha ha! She pays for her boyfriend's car payment. Yeah, Mom had a little to say, as if she felt guilty being in an apartment where fornications would raise church pew eyebrows. Is that what I really think? Or are we having a little fun? I don't know. Or maybe she was just quiet that day, as she often had a blue streak of conversation. Not on this day, not Mom King here. Now, Louis was vaguely unclear what Denise had told their mother about Gina, nor what her intentions had been at the time. Gina would not be hard to like. He just knew it. A little more chit-chat ensued, and soon the pair was alone again. Wow, thanks. I wouldn't have asked you, he began. Look, your troubles are my troubles. We solved them together, she said, understated yet heroically. I had the money they wanted. The bill needs paying. That's what I do for you. That's how we handle things together. Why wait until we're married? Why wait indeed, Louis said, with another kiss that would have drawn jeers beside the checkout at Walmart. Oh, yeah. Fun. Okay, all right. I mean, it is. There's a very light heart in it. Despite the misunderstandings that people have, it's like the misunderstandings are kind of silly overall.
Aren't misunderstandings really?
There's probably more
For the
humor to
most
be
part.
found in it than I might have originally accredited. But yeah, aren't they? Aren't misunderstandings? How are they necessary? I guess it depends on the misunderstanding, right? With that said, that's Anywhere with You. This isn't going to turn itself off. Okay.
I'm
here we go.
done.
Time. So that's Louis, Gina thought, as she placed the order. Martin's girlfriend, Denise's brother. The one Connie had gushed over the week before, claiming he was her best friend. She had tried to be Connie's friend too, but there was a cruel streak and a tendency towards laziness that irked Gina and really all the waitstaff. She was 3 months pregnant, but Connie used that as her excuse to lean on the podium and do nothing. It was too bad. Gina really loved babies and pregnant women. It seemed almost everything in her life lately that should have been a good thing turned out to be something with a nasty twist. And to continue from chapter 1. After they were in the parking lot, Connie came back out. It seems I have to go 17 times a day, she declared. Gina thought about telling Connie Louis had been there. She considered it when Connie first came in. For that matter, Connie had shown her own designs on Martin, until he had neglected to give her the same level of tickling and joking he had shown Gina. This was behind her helpful advice about Martin's girlfriend, when she had noticed that bit of hope emerging in Gina's eyes. Gina tended to think of everyone's feelings, no matter how sick at heart she felt from the disastrous roller coaster that had emerged with her blossoming love life. This time she followed a slightly vindictive impulse, which she recognized for what it was. So, what? She thought, as she left Connie in the dark about the visitors until they were safely gone. Even a good girl has to get a little of her own back sometimes. It felt foreign to her. But then, she wasn't so sure how good a girl she really was anymore, after all.